Hey, how's it going, Captains? Admiral Tori here, and welcome aboard for another World of Warships video on my channel. In today's video, I am sailing the Tier 10 American light cruiser, the USS Worcester. This is my first game with this ship, and this ship is a beast. This ship rips people's souls apart. It is really the Soul Reaper, and I love this ship to death. I always wanted to get the Worcester, but never really had the motivation to play the Cleveland and the Seattle. I was just not having fun with the American light cruisers with those particular ships specifically, unless I'm feeling the light cruisers, of course. But it was a chore that I didn't want to do because from time to time you have to sit behind an island to get things working, right? But the Worcester is a little different because she has really weird armor. Now, how I acquired the Worcester is interesting because I decided to trade in my Hakuryu for free XP and credits. Not because I hate the Hakuryu or don't agree with the CV rework. On the CV rework, so far I am enjoying it. It's taking some time for Wargaming to hammer out the proms and mature the CVs to a more reasonable state. But when I was thinking about it, it took me some time to think about it, but free XP is hard to come by. Roughly 5 games of free XP is equivalent to 1 game just getting regular XP. So that is a lot of games to play just to get the equivalent number of free XP. So if I were to play 500 games, all of that free XP is equivalent to 100 games of regular XP. That is 400 extra games that I have to play in order to get that free XP. So since I invested in playing carriers all these years, I thought that, I still play Shokaku, I still play Lexington, even though I have the Midway and Hakuryu. And really, I haven't played a single game in my Hakuryu in random battle. I only played the Midway, but I only played like 10 games. It wasn't my taste. I like the tier 8 carriers more than the tier 10s. So if I'm going to play the Shokaku and the Lexington, I might as well sell my carriers, get that free XP, regrind those XP to get the Midway and Hakuryu again, and then right there, I just gain myself an extra tier 10 on ship, and in the near future, possible potential free XP only ships. Wargaming was generous enough to give me my 750k free XP for the odd tier carriers. I was kind of worried how they're gonna handle that, but they gave it to me, and that secured me a spot for the Alaska. So now I'm in my Worcester, and yeah, I'm having way too much fun with this ship. So in the beginning match, you notice that I was kind of hesitant about going to A. The original plan was to just head to B and C and join up with the fleet, but I decided to slow down a little bit because A was open for a while, until now of course, and my Missouri and Montana was already on the other side. Now I called out that, hey, enemy Montana, someone fired at the Montana and we can set up a crossfire. Now I was hoping that the Montana and Missouri would just stay on the B side and just, get the angle on the Montana, put pressure on the Montana. But as you guys notice, the Montana is going to go back in and charge. The idea was that, hey, the enemy Montana has to pick between shooting at me or the friendly Montana on my side to shoot at. And he is now focusing the friendly Montana. I'm going to act like a secondary for my friendly Montana by withering down this enemy Montana. Now, if the friendly Montana just holds that position, and I think he mistook my message when I say target the Montana. He's thinking that we're gonna go full on in, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Enemy Montana getting really irritated by me playing the Worcester. I think the Worcester is one of the most hated ships in this game, next to the Harugumo and Kitakaze. But yeah, he knows that I'm just doing so much damage, putting so much firepower downrange. It's all about these 150 2mm guns, if I recall correctly. They were like 150, is it 155s? I don't know, but these guns can really hurt if you just let a Worcester do its thing. So right here, enemy Montana is half HP, friendly Montana broadside, more than half HP, but a more reasonable state than the enemy Montana, and yeah, got deleted. Very poor play, but at the end of the game, I did give the friendly Montana a compliment for good manners. And he probably asked me, what? Whoa, you know, this enemy Montana, he's stupid. You saw that? Well, when I called out the enemy Montana was coming this way, and the Missouri Montana was already on the other side, I really did appreciate that these players came back in and listened to me. So I have to give them credits because I feel guilty. It's one of those guilt where you do something and it costs one of your teammates' lives. And I get that feeling at times where a teammate asks me to do something and it costs me my ship, and there's that sense of anger, like, hey, you know, it didn't work out as planned. So yeah, friendly Montana is gonna get a compliment from me because of, you know, he's willing to listen to a random guy in the game, right? Now the Missouri, I was hoping that the Missouri would fall back, but I think it's a little bit too late because the enemy Worcester and the Hindenburg are going to wither down the ship. I mean, there's just so much HE firepower from those two ships. So I think the Missouri could have gotten away if she didn't fire and she turned away and stayed concealed, because even without concealment expert, she should be able to disappear. But I think she continues to fire and resist the idea of just being concealed and falling back. So I'm trying to go back in here because I know that the Missouri is taking too much heat. I wanted to get some heat from the enemy ship. So I'm going to hit back and start firing at the Hindenburg. But unfortunately, I think the Missouri already used her damage control. And she has at least a fire for sure. So there's probably 2 fire on that ship. And eventually the Missouri will get sunk by fire, I believe. Yeah, she's probably going to get sunk by fire. So I'm going back in, trying to figure out how I'm going to take on the enemy Hindenburg and the Worcester. Now, I feel much more confident taking on the Hindenburg, and the reason why is because the Hindenburg only got her front guns facing. Now, if the Hindenburg was a Des Moines, it'd be a different story. So yeah, Des Moines has a higher rate of fire, while the Hindenburg doesn't have the high rate of fire, but she has very deadly AP and the shell velocity. So I'm kiting as hard as possible. I know that the enemy Worcester is behind the island. You know, that's what Worcester players do. They usually try to find behind the island. But for me, I ambush as much as possible. As you guys notice that sometimes I fire, sometimes I don't fire even if I had the opportunity to do so. I want to come in with my Worcester like it was a submachine gun and close the range. And now enemy Hindenburg is focused on firing at our friendly Cleveland here, and it is my time to shine, showing broadside and firing as much HE downrange. Now, being an American light cruiser, the shells do hang quite a bit, and it's difficult to aim. But for me, I played the Atlanta for all these years, so I kind of got an idea how to lead my shots. Enemy Worcester is still trying to shoot at me. Hindenburg is not focusing me at all, so I'm going to just wither her down with my guns. Yes, I do have IFHE, and I do plan on trying to get Concealment Expert. Currently, I only got like a 10-point captain with my Worcester, but that's more than enough because this thing is, I don't know what to say. This thing is strong, really strong in certain situations, of course. And it's also a beautiful ship. One of the reasons why I wanted the Worcester from the beginning is because it's a very interesting looking ship. It's one of those odd ships that you don't see at all. I kind of wish, when I say odd, I'm comparing to the American line, of course. I mean, there's more weirder ships out there, like the Rune, with the Germans having 2 of the turrets facing backwards, the Nelson. But you understand what I'm trying to say. You don't see these type of guns at all. You usually see like Cleveland's 52 millimeters. I want to say it's 152. I think it's 152. The 155s are from the Mogamis. But yeah, you see those more traditional turrets. This ship has a really weird turret, and it was designed this way because if you notice the bloomers, the guns can elevate 90 degrees, and this was in mind for AA, of course. After, you know, the Americans has gained enough knowledge, they modify their cruisers, and the future classes are going to be more effective against airplanes. So that's one of the reasons why this ship is a cool looking ship. So right here, yeah, I'm trying to hit back to the capture zone because I'm way out in the back trying to kite away from the earlier engagement. But the Worcester, she's the largest light cruiser ever built. I can trust, hopefully I can trust the description. That's what's said in World of Warships. But she's one of the largest, and for that reason, she's also, a very slow light cruiser. She can only go up to like 31 knots, so being out of position is taxing at time. So enemy Worcester has been taken out by, I think, was it the Moskva or our friendly Cleveland? It doesn't matter, she's taken out. Our team is really struggling right now, and I believe this map, I don't recall the map's name, but this is one of the more difficult maps to play because it's kind of hard to collaborate with randoms, because this island is just cutting half the map, well, more like a third versus 2/3 of the map away, and it's kind of hard to, you know, synchronize the entire team. So I was meticulous about how I was going to approach the A side, because that's the left 1/3 that is going to be difficult to take, especially if you're going in without a destroyer. Now that we have, you know, the game is set on the position, we know where all the battleships are at, and we know where a general idea where the smaller ships are at, which in this case the Haraguma with the Salem are going to take the C flag. Right here, I'm trying to decide how I'm going to approach this. My friendly Henri IV is very low, and I think she's bow on against the Musashi and Massachusetts. Now right here, I wasn't certain if I have enough clearance to shoot over this island, and I do have enough clearance, but I think my ship is going to peek around the island, and ideally you don't want your ship being spotted as you're shooting, especially broadside to a Musashi and the Massachusetts. So I decided that, hey, screw it, I'm just gonna go open, way out in the open, and start shooting at the Massachusetts and Musashi. Eventually I'll get into the Massachusetts, and the reason why I decided it was a perfect time to go out in the open is because the friendly Moskva is taking some heat from these battleships, so these battleships shouldn't be targeting me. But I think, was it somebody? I think somebody fired at me. Maybe not, because earlier you saw that priority target that someone was targeting me. So enemy Musashi is going to be out of my view because of the island. One of the reasons why I hate playing this map is because it's that difficulty that you have to face. I mean, yeah, it's fun playing with difficult things, but sometimes when you play difficult things and your team is not cooperating with it, it just makes the situation worse. So island's gonna get in the way. I'm unable to shoot at the Massachusetts anymore, and I need to start moving. Now I don't have the rudder time upgrade. I choose to go with the propulsion upgrade because I feel like you can really screw people over with the aim if your movement is erratical. So looks like the Massachusetts is going to be taken care of by our friendly cruisers over there. I have full trust in that they can do it. And now I'm going to go back into the B cap with the Begonia. Enemy Haragumo is right over there, but I'm able to get in the range. Worcester's stock range is like, well, default range without the upgrade that you get for the tier 9 upgrade module slot is 16 kilometers, which is more than enough. You shouldn't be that far with the Worcester. I mean, technically you can snipe with the Worcester. I mean, anything is possible. I'm not going to say that, hey, you can't do this. People have done things that seem way out of the ordinary, but it works. If it works, it's fine. Just like what Jingo said, if it's stupid and it works, it should be fine. So yeah, I'm going to close the distance on the Salem. Theoretically, the Salem or the Des Moines should be Worcester's in close range, and the reason why is because you have to show broadside to get most of your firepower from the Worcester, while Des Moines has 2 of her turrets which houses 6 of her 203mm guns, which are more than enough to rip anything apart. Can just bow on, reduce the damage, and sufficiently do damage while reducing the damage being bow on. So in this case, the Salem should be able to beat me in the close quarter battle, especially with that repair party that the Salem has. But for whatever reason, I think the Salem was way too preoccupied on shooting the Moskva over me, because I'm broadside. Come on, man. And there goes the Salem. So right here, I'm gonna turn my guns around and try to focus my fire on the enemy Iowa. Looks like the Iowa has ran into the what ship is that? What is that ship? I'm sure someone's gonna figure that out because they can just rewind the video. My guess is probably the Henri. Yeah, it's probably the Henri. I don't know. It's one of those ships. Maybe Cleveland. I have no clue. So now we are left with just the Haragumo, and yeah, we managed to turn this game around, but is there enough time to capture a flag? To capture all 3 flags, because we're still down by roughly 300, well, not 300 now, but it's 250 points, 240 to 250. And fortunately, enemy Haragumo decided to shoot at our Moskva, and I'm sure she's outside of the radar range, and we managed to just end the game from there. The Haragumo's dead, and we won the game. And this was a uphill battle. You're gonna see the leaderboard where the game should have been a landslide victory for the enemy team, but it just so happens that I was with a very strong division, and I just happened to be a strong player in this game. Yeah, the difference is massive. So yeah, 3 of us are top tier with well, when I say top tier, I mean top of the leaderboard with at least 2k what's it called, 2k base XP. And right here I give good manners to these guys because these guys actually listen to me. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time on World of Warships.